quite a few ingredients here, but this is a relatively easy recipe to do. A couple little steps. I'm actually making a barbecued chicken filet sandwich. So this isn't like a breaded chicken sandwich. If you see my breaded chicken sandwich, which is really good, this one has a whole new dimension to it that you're really gonna love. And ingredient wise, we're doing this the easy way. We've got wet ingredients and dry ingredients. So let me start. I'll get the wet ingredients here because we've got some water and barbecue sauce, since I'm making a barbecue style. If you're just gonna make a plain one, you wouldn't add the barbecue sauce to it. But I wanted to show you how to add the barbecue sauce to get to the measurement that you want to have. And so you can just keep going. If you had a half cup, quarter cup of this, quarter cup of that, you can just keep going up and up with it, which is a really neat way to do that. So we've got water, barbecue sauce, a little bit of olive oil, vegetable oil, any type you want to do, soy sauce, and of course my chickenless base, which is a really popular item that I use quite a bit of. Beefless. There's actually a mushroom too that works really good for some particular recipes. And then we do have some dry ingredients that's going to go in the wet right here. Onion and garlic. 1 part garlic, 2 parts onion. Salt and sugar. Of course, I use the natural brown sugar. I'm using the pink Himalayan salt. And then this one does have some poultry seasoning in it. A lot of my chicken recipes, I don't use the poultry seasoning. I get an actual chicken flavor out of apple juice and apple cider vinegar. It actually gives you the flavor of chicken. But for this one, I've just got some multiple flavors going on here. So let me just set this aside for 1 second here, because we've got a couple other elements that I want to share with you. We've got chickpeas right here. Now the chickpeas, it's at 250 grams because I measured it out. It's probably close to a can, but we do our own chickpeas. So, and those cans, I mean, you never know. Some cans are packed with chickpeas, and then other ones, it's like a half a can. So I hate to give you a measurement like that. I can give you a measurement, 1.5 cups, something like that. But I did measure this out because there's moisture in here as well. And but we just boil them off. We put them in a crock pot and let them simmer for about 4 hours on high, and the chickpeas are ready to go. So not that complicated. And that way you can buy the 50-pound bags, 25-pound bags, and save a lot of money. So that's the way to do that. All right. All we have to do is mash those chickpeas. Make sure that all the chickpeas are mashed. And then, well, let me just set this aside for a second, because I've got some jackfruit here too. And this is just 1 can of jackfruit. Let me grab a knife real quick here. If I grab a knife, I'll show you what you want to do. This has been cooked already. We cooked it for 25-30 minutes. Just boiled it off. Just put it in a pan. I drained the brine off of it. Keeps it so it's not so salty. And just boil it off. But it's got a core part there, and you just want to smash that core part down. And you can see where the rest of it's kind of a meaty, flaky look to it. So I just smash those cores down. Sometimes you'll find a really firm core. And if you find a really firm core, you're going to have to really press down on it. That one's a little firmer right there. And that one's a little firmer too. Most of them are pretty good. See, those are easy. So, and which is the reason why you have to boil this down, or those cores can be so solid that you won't be able to do this. So once you get them all mashed like this, you can do a quick chop if you want. Now, a lot of people like to pull out the little seeds the little pods that are inside here. You know, I don't mess with them. I used to, and sometimes if I want to have a real gourmet perfection of a recipe, I'll pull those out. But a lot of times, hey, I just eat them. Just throw them in there. It's not going to hurt anybody. All right. And for certain recipes, you want those little pods in there, especially for pork. It makes it look like it's got little cartilages in there. So if you're doing that vegan meat, realistically, that would be what to do. So, all right. So, all we have to do is get our wet ingredients. I'm going to give this one more stir. It's always nice to give it a second stir because it gives it an opportunity to melt. So I'll give it one more stir here, and in the pot we go. Get all these buddies marinating in the hot tub. All right. Now, as far as the dry ingredients go, we've got our vital wheat gluten flour, some rice flour. There's some starches you could use too if you didn't have the rice flour. Potato starch even. Tapioca starch would work really good. There's a few little things you can do if you don't have the rice flour. And there is two different types of rice flour. There's regular rice flour and brown rice flour. Regular rice flour you can find at the Asian food stores. It's real popular there. Brown rice is usually at the health food stores. I use either one, whichever one I can get, because they both basically, I've never seen a difference between using one versus the other. Usually I get the brown rice flour in the bags from Bob's Red Mill type of thing. So anyway, either one will work. Okay, so once you have the wet ingredients, and give that a nice little mix here, and then we'll put the dry mixture in there without going everywhere. And then we'll give this a nice little fold here until they gets to the point where I can actually mix it by hand. I'm just going to be nice and easy here not to get that flour flying everywhere. Okay, there we go. May seem a little dry to you, but it's not. We're going to keep pressing with this. And you got to remember, this is gluten flour. So gluten flour has a tendency of doing a couple things. First of all, sometimes it takes a little while to absorb those moistures. And the gluten, the more I mix this, the more binding it's going to become. In fact, you keep mixing this for 2 or 3 minutes, and you're going to find that it'll have a little elasticity. So that's what we want to do. We want to just get this baby mixing for a good 2 minutes. Dun 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 dun. Actually, if I sing that, they might get me on a copyright law on YouTube. I've had that happen a couple times where I'd put up something and even I had permission to use the audio, but those particular people went to YouTube somehow and actually had their copyright material there, and so as soon as YouTube hears that music, that particular tone, it automatically flags it as a copyright infringement. And so I don't know, I haven't figured out how to if I got to go back to the source or what I can do about that, but it is what it is. They still let me air it, they just don't monetize. You can't get money off of it. But I don't use YouTube as a money-making tool, and I probably should be, but you know, I just don't. always hesitated about having all these commercials popping in everywhere. And so I don't know. We'll see. But, oh, you can see how this is. Look at this. If you can see it real quick here. Here, I'll pull this out. I'll just pull it right out here on the cutting board. And you can see where it's actually starting to get little strands that are coming apart. And that's what you're looking for. You can see these strands. So, and that's why I said it takes a couple minutes. And here's where the pods come out. If you see these little pods, you can just pull those out. I'm okay with them in there just because it's texture. But if you want to pull them out, you can pull them out. Okay. So now that we've done this for a couple minutes here, and I think I'm happy with it, we're going to just roll this out any real shape you want. Just make it even so that you can get even measurements. That's the only thing I'm doing here, is I want to get measurements to make them consistent. So if you cut it in half, we're going to do 6 of these. I can go right here, and here. You could do 8 if you want smaller chicken breasts, but I'm just going to do 6 for now. And we're just going to get these babies setting over here. Just so I can clean my counter off. I have a real habit of keeping clean. Okay. Heck, let me just grab a cutting board here and I'll show you what we want to do. Because we want to take these babies and actually make them look like chicken breasts. And a chicken breast will have a higher side and a smaller side. Kind of just tapers down like that. So that's the way you want to set these up. And these are pretty big chicken breasts. Like I said, you can make them smaller if you want to do 7 or 8 of them. And they don't have to be perfect either. Just like a regular piece of meat, they don't have to be perfect. Okay. So we're going to have 6 of these. Personally, I think I'd do 7, just because that's a big piece of meat. Yep, 7 might be the way to go on this one. I've just done 6 over and over. Okay, now we got them kind of in the shape that I want them. All right, next step. We are going to wrap these with our rice paper. So we're going to take a couple sheets of rice paper. We're going to have to put some water on the cutting board. If you don't do that, you're going to get this rice paper to stick to the cutting board. So you have to have water on both sides. Absolute necessity. And this will take a couple minutes for it to melt. And there we go. Yeah, so just after a couple minutes, they're good to go. Then we're going to put our chicken breasts right in the middle here. And we need to wrap just by pulling up here. We just go all the way around. We want to make sure we get all the way across with this so it seals here, though. We want to get that sealing action right there. And then just like that, I'll put this on the pan. Get it out of our way. Boom. Like that. And don't worry if you're overlapping here. If you're overlapping like this, it's a skin. This is going to look like skin on your chicken breast. Okay, time to do number 2. So we'll get these babies going. A little bit of assembly line here. Probably could have done 3 at a time on this board. My backboard in my test kitchen is smaller, and I'm just used to doing 2 at a time. Yeah, hot water, definitely. I mean, I've got warmer water here. That's why it's getting done quicker. use cold water, it just goes so slow. All right, but let's make some room here, and I will get our pan going right here, and I always clean as I go, just the way it goes. Get this baby cranking up here. Even in the restaurants, that's the way I did it. Just clean as you go. Okay. So, what we're gonna do, let's get these two here. And these two we can put right in the pan. I always put the seal down. We're gonna pan fry these on both sides and get these babies finished up here. Okay. Yeah, so just after a couple minutes, you can see all I'm doing is searing both sides. I'm just searing it. And it seals it. That's all we're doing. We're just sealing all of this good stuff together. Okay. Let's go ahead and put a little barbecue sauce on each one of these. By the way, if you don't know about this one, this is called Sticky Fingers. Sticky Fingers, company out of Florida. I've been using them for many, many years. And now they're national. And we've got them everywhere. I think Walmart's got them, and Myers has them, and a lot of the stores carry it. No high fructose corn syrup. Yay! They don't market it that way. But yeah, it's no high fructose corn syrup. And the price is right. It's not a... usually you get these ones that say no high fructose corn syrup, and they're really expensive. And in this one, the price was right. So, and they've got a number of different flavors too. So, okay. And of course, I got barbecue recipes if you want one. This is going to go in the oven, 350 degrees. About every 15 minutes, I'm going to flip it over and give it another shot of sauce. And you can do 45 minutes, so we're going to sauce it, flip it, and give it some nice coating like this. And then we'll be back to show you what they look like. Oh, yes. Beautiful. All right. Had these in the oven 45 minutes. I did flip them, barbecue them, flip them, barbecue them. So they actually got 3 times the barbecue. And look at them. They're beautiful. In fact, I think if you had these on a plate and served them just like this, people would be absolutely amazed at how realistic they are. Something like that. I think that would be your boom. Let me share with you real quick though. I'm gonna pull one of these out here, and we'll grab a knife and a fork, because I do want you to see the texture on the inside. So let me just cut this baby in half. I did let this cool down a little bit. Definitely needs to cool down, and then it'll tighten up. And boom, look at that. And I'm gonna break this open right now so you can really see what's happening in here. I mean, there's actual textures that really work for a chicken sandwich. Plus you have the skin. See where you have the skin? This is what you're looking for. Here's another piece of skin right here. The whole thing's got skin on it. And then on the ends, you can kind of see this little gristle type of thing with the skin. And that's what you're looking for. And flavor-wise, well, we'll try it out. Barbecued chicken, just like that. One thing you might want to do though, like I did this in 6, you might want to go 7 or 8. In fact, I'll probably put on the recipe, divide into 8 portions so they're a little bit smaller. I mean, I like the big ones, but most people are going to like the little bit smaller ones. So 6 to 8 would probably be your range there. But that is a delicious chicken less thing that you can use for sandwiches or just as an entree. A little barbecue dipping would really be good too. So there you go, helping you get healthy one bite at a time.